These are the Switchback Sequential LED turn signal projector headlights, and they're available for all 2019 and newer Ram 2500s equipped with factory halogen headlights. Now, these lights would be a great choice for halogen owners out there looking for a massive upgrade in both functionality and appearance. Now, these options will convert your stock halogens to a full LED option here, loaded with that modern daytime running light and sequential turn signals, and of course that dark, aggressive look, all for right around the high $700 price point. But what do you say we run through some of the features here, as there are a few different things to talk about. Now, first and foremost, you will notice that these options are going to replace your dated reflector style low and high beam housing with a more modern projector. Not only does this just look a lot cooler, but again, will help improve your nighttime visibility thanks to the brighter, more focused beam of light. Now, the next feature will be the diffused LED daytime running lights in that white light running around the upper and lower bars of the headlight itself. Now, these running lights will illuminate whenever your parking lights or headlights have been switched on and will contribute to a more custom or modified look, definitely more reminiscent of the more premium trucks today on the street. Now, those diffused LED running lights and a small portion actually below the bottom bar itself will serve as your turn signals as well. And this is done thanks to what is called switchback technology. That switchback light basically allows the white to turn to amber and then actually sequence while doing so, which really does increase the look overall, all while adding again more of that modern touch. Now, moving into our construction block, and another feature that we kind of hinted on earlier is that big transformation from the boring chrome factory housings to a much more sinister look thanks to the matte black housings topped off with that clear polycarbonate lens. Now, this really is going to change up or transform the front end from an attitude perspective and is a great choice for HD owners looking to kind of black out or smoke out all of the lighting on their rigs. Now, as I mentioned earlier, guys, all of your lighting is preloaded into these ABS plastic housings here. So there's really nothing to transfer anything like that. Essentially a plug and play light ready to go thanks to the comprehensive harness that is included with the actual kit itself. Now, the lights are adjustable after the install, so you can aim them properly. They have been stamped with the DOT and SAE logo, which does make them legal for use in all 50 states. And finally are backed by a 1-year warranty in case you run into any issues. Price point for the sequential turn signal projectors will land in that high $700 range, which does make these slightly more affordable compared to more premium options from Alpharex or Morimoto, which will land you north of $1,000. So if you want similar kind of look, performance, things like that, but don't want to go over that $1,000 mark, definitely give these a look. All right, last but not least, now we want to show you what it takes to get everything swapped over on your HD at home. Site's going to call this a pretty solid 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking you, I would say, at least an hour to get installed from start to finish. Now, to give you a better idea of what to expect in the garage or driveway, let's throw it out to the shop for our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
For this install, you will need an impact, a 1/4 inch ratchet, shallow and deep 10mm sockets, a 10mm ratcheting wrench, a clip removal tool, and a panel tool. Also not shown here is your in-box fuse pullers or a set of needle nose pliers. Today we're going to be installing some headlights on our Ram, so let's get started. Alrighty guys, so we're going to start off with our hood up. The first thing we're going to do is remove our upper shroud. Now, it's held on by push clips all around the front, and you also have 2 on the back side of this shroud. So we're going to grab our clip removal tool and start removing all of these. Now, as I mentioned before, we've got these 2 on the back side of our shroud that we'll remove. Now that we have all of our clips out, we can pull our shroud out of the way and set it aside. Next, we can remove our upper trim from our grill. Now, that's held on across the sections by a lot of 10mm screws. So we've got our 10mm socket. We're going to get all of those out, and we can pull our trim out. Now that we have our screws out, we can remove our upper trim panel. Just slide that straight out. Next, we're going to need to remove our lower trim section. So we're going to remove these outer panels first. What you'll need is a panel tool. And you kind of want to be firm but gentle with this. You're going to need to get into here and wedge this out and then pop it out of place. So wedge this in. Work our way in. And pop this side out. Once you have this side out, you can do the same thing for the other side. Now that we've got our outer panels off, that's going to expose this 10mm screw on each side, so we'll go ahead and remove those. We're going to grab our 10mm socket to do that. And you want to do the same thing for the other side. All right, so now that we have our outer screws and panels out, the next step is going to be to come to the underside of our center section of our grill. You're going to feel for the 5 jam nuts or set nuts that are along here. You're going to have one on the outside by the taper, and then another one kind of at a third section, one in the middle, and the same thing for this side. You do not need to fully loosen these up. You just need to loosen them enough to where we can get this trim panel off. So we got our 10mm socket on our ratchet. We're going to very carefully get in between here. You're going to have to use feel. You can't really see these. And you may need a deep socket for these outer ones. Get this guy. And again, we just need to loosen them up. We don't need to fully remove these. So your 2 at your in-between sections, you can use your shallow 10. For the 3 at the other points, the outsides in the middle, you will need a deep socket for that. So we'll get our deep socket and get these other 3 loose, and then we'll be able to remove our trim panel. All right, so we've got our deep socket, so we'll get these other 3 loose. Again, this is pretty much all going to be by feel. Now that we've got these loose, we can pull our center trim. So now that we have our trim out, we can actually show you the set nuts we were talking about. So as you can see, some are more recessed and some are lower. So those are the ones you're going to need to loosen up. So now we can begin removing our grill. Now since we're already down here, the first thing you want to do is remove the 3 10mm screws at the bottom outside portion of your grill. You'll notice our inner one here is no longer with us due to many previous installs. You should have those 3 that you'll need to take off. So we've got our 10mm socket, and we'll get rid of ours. Again, you want to remove that one as well, then we'll do the same thing for the other side. So now we've got 6 more 10mm screws holding in the top section of our grill. So we've got this one out here. We've got 1, 2, and 3, and then the same thing for the other side. So we'll grab our 10mm socket again and remove all those. Once you got these 3 out, we can do the same thing for the other 3. Now that we have all of our mounting screws out, we can remove our grill. May need to lift up a hair on the outsides. Next, we can remove the 2 remaining 10mm screws holding our headlight in place. So you've got one up top and then one down here at the bottom. So we'll grab our 10mm socket and pop those out. All right, so you're gonna have 2 more screws that we'll need to remove the entire headlight assembly itself. Those are located right at the bottom front of your fender. Inside of your actual fender, there's gonna be 2 10mm screws facing upwards. You can get in there with a 10mm ratcheting wrench. These are almost impossible to see unless you're peeking right through here. So we'll get in there and get those out. Just be very careful with your paint job on this. You can even put a rag or some tape along your fender. Now once you get it loose enough, you can kind of reach back inside of your fender liner, get these out by hand. There we go. Now we're going to pull our headlight out. We're going to unplug it from the vehicle. So we have our single connector back here that we're going to need to push back the red safety tab and then unplug the harness. So now that we have both of our headlights out, it's time to start hooking up our new setup. The first thing we need to do is install our accessory wiring harness. And what we're going to do is come to the driver's side to our junction block. We're going to need to open up the cover on that. Just got these two prongs. Push in on these, open up your fuse block. Now we're going to be looking for, as is labeled on our harness, accessory fuse number 95. Your chart for your fuses is on the lid of your fuse block. We also have a fuse puller in our fuse block that we're going to use. Get that out of there. Now accessory fuse number 95 is going to be down on this row. It's going to be the 10 amp fuse at the bottom right next to our 20 amp fuse right here. So we're going to pull that. We're going to set this one aside. Next we're going to grab our provided fuse tap on our harness that already has the fuses in it. Put that right in its place. And we can return our fuse pullers. Now if your fuse puller has gone missing from your fuse block, you can use needle nose pliers or something of that nature to remove your fuse. Once we have that on, we're going to run our harness out, close up our fuse block. Now if you want this to sit back flush, you can notch out the lid of your fuse block to allow your wiring to go through. For demonstration purposes, we're not going to do that to ours, but you can very easily take a razor knife or some clippers and just trim that out. Now for the other end of our harness that's going to go into our headlights, you have these labeled for right hand and left hand. The left hand is going to be your driver's side, right hand is going to be the passenger side. So what we'll do is get our driver's side into our headlight opening area. Just want that to hang loose in there for now. And then we're going to route this other side over to our passenger side. Now you can feel free to do this however you like, as long as it gets over there and doesn't impede with any rotating or hot parts, because you don't want to damage your harness or your vehicle in the process. Now that we've got our wiring all routed, we're going to get our headlight, and the first thing we're going to do is plug our factory connector into our plug on our headlight. Make sure that snaps into place, and you want to push that red safety tab back in. We can take our harness that we just ran, plug that to the single pin connector. Sometimes this one's a little stubborn. I'll tuck that back out of the way. We'll set our headlight in place. So now that we have our headlight in place, the first screw we're going to get back in is that one that's underneath inside of here. So we're going to pull back our fender liner. You will kind of have to feel for it. Once you get it in place, you can get it started. Now that we have our screw in, we're going to grab our 10mm ratcheting wrench, reach in there and get that tightened down. Now what we're going to do is reinstall our upper 10mm screw out here. Now we're not going to put this other one in because that is also going to be your grill mount, so you don't want to put the screw in for that just yet. So we'll get this lined up, get our 10mm socket, get this in. One thing I also want to point out is you should have a push clip here as a locator. Again, ours is no longer with us due to many previous installs. You should definitely pop that back into place. Now once you've reached this point, you want to do the same thing for your other headlights so we can begin installing our grille and our trim. Now we're going to get our grille back in place. So we'll set this up here. You want to line up your locator pins. You're going to have to lift up a little bit on it to get it in position over top of this mounting point. Now we can reinstall our lower mounting screws for our grille. Now remember, you have 1, 2, and then you should have a third one right here. Again, we no longer have ours. Definitely want to install those. So we've got our 10mm socket, and we'll get these back in. And you want to do that one, then you can repeat the same process for the other side. Next, we can reinstall our center section of our lower trim. Get this lined up. Now you want to make sure you line your mounting points back up with those set nuts that we removed earlier. Now we're going to install these outer 10mm screws first. So I've got my 10mm socket. We'll get these back in. And you want to do the same thing for the other side. All right, so next we're going to tighten back down these nuts in the center section of our trim. Once again, you will need a shallow and a deep 10mm socket on a ratchet. We'll start with our middle ones. And once you got these two tight, you can do the same thing for the other three. Now we can reinstall our outer trim pieces. So these are just going to line back up with their clips and press in. Once you have this side back in, you can do the same thing for the other side. Next, we're going to reinstall our upper trim piece, and then we're going to reinstall all of the 10mm screws holding our trim and our grille in up top. So get this in place. You want to line up these outer locators. Give that a push. Make sure that's properly seated. And we'll grab all of our screws and get these back in. Now we'll grab our 10mm socket, and all of our shorter screws are going to be the one for our trim mounting points. Now we'll get our upper grille mounting screws, which are the longer ones, back in. Get with our 10mm socket. Now we can reinstall our upper shroud. Now there is a little tab on the end. You want to make sure it goes behind your fender on both sides. Once we got this in place, we'll come back in and reinstall all of our push clips. Now first we're going to reinstall the two clips out back. Definitely don't want to forget those. Pop those into place. Once we got those in, we'll come out front and reinstall all those. So now we'll get all these in place. Now once you got your first few in place, you want to do the same thing for the rest of them. Alrighty folks, that about wraps up our review and install of our Switchback Sequential LED turn signal projector headlights and matte black housing and clear lenses for your 19 to 24 Ram 2500 with factory halogen headlights. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything Ram, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.